What's up, AP Bio Penguins? Today we have a little AP Bio Math Minute, and we're going to look at Hardy-Weinberg equilibrium. So there's a bitter tasting chemical called PTC, and the ability to taste it is due to a dominant allele. And so we found that the incidence within the population of non-tasters is 45%. And we need to figure out what percent are going to be homozygous dominant if this population is in Hardy-Weinberg. We want to give this to the nearest hundredth place. So our first step, let's look at the equation. So this is p squared plus 2pq plus q squared equals 1, and p plus q equals 1. But what do these variables mean? So p squared is our frequency of our homozygous dominant, so having two dominant alleles. 2pq is our frequency of our heterozygous, so one dominant and one recessive allele. And then q squared is going to be the frequency of our homozygous recessive, so having two of these recessive alleles. And then p is going to be the frequency of our dominant allele, and q is the frequency of our recessive allele. So students oftentimes get this confused. So if you only see one letter, like 1p or 1q, that's just looking at the alleles. So I would solve these using a chart. So here you can see we got the chart. We got a column for p, q, p squared, 2pq, and q squared. And then when solving this, we want to start with q squared. So we know that the non-tasters are 45%, and that is my q squared. So we fill that into the chart. So now, in order to find q, you're just going to take the square root of q squared. So the square root of 0.45 is going to be 0.67. And so we fill that into the chart. Now, I did put my chart a little too high, so let's move that chart down a little bit so we'll be able to continue working with this. So now that that's moved down, we know that p plus q equals 1. So 1 minus q is going to be equal to p. So 1 minus 0.67 gives me 0.33. And then if I know my p, I can find my p squared. So I'm going to square 0.33, and that's going to give me 0.11. And so the last thing I need to do is say, okay, well, what's 2p cubed? So 2 times 0.33 times 0.67 is going to give me 0.44. So now I've solved for all my values, and you figure, well, what is it the problem needs? Well, it wants to know about the frequency that our homozygous dominant, which is my p squared. And so that's going to be 0.11 or 11%. So let's highlight those so we can see what our answer is. We're going to scroll it up so that you can see the whole problem. And remember, AP Bio Penguins, success by y'all.